Hi, hello everyone, and welcome for today's in conversation with Joseph Daniel, who's the global VP of Engineering Exostructure Power and head of COE India for digital energy at Schneider Electric. Now, Joseph has over 25 years of global R&D experience with a very successful track record of bringing innovative and sustainable engineering solutions. So, welcome, Joseph.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Vandhana.
great. So, today's topic, our topic of conversation today is, walk the talk about towards net zero and how it has to be, powered by progressive innovation as well. So, a little background. Of course, carbon neutral in overall operations by 2025 and also net zero in the overall entire value chain by 2050 is very, it's a very daunting task. So, nowadays, also it is in the middle of a lot of companies who are struggling to put their sustainability plans also, into action. And how we should do that is probably the key is through innovation in smarter products and greener products, and it has to be powered by technology like IoT or connectivity, edge and use of cloud, and how then we can use this create these products, and then smart energy across everywhere in our homes, in our buildings, in our data centers, industries, factories, everywhere, grids as well. So that will actually determine a very resilient, sustainable future as well. So I wanted to ask you first of all that how can they accelerate the adoption of the newer tech like IoT and of course AI as well, and how can they use the technology to meet their carbon neutrality goals, and then especially in such sectors like a little traditional, which are a little traditional in nature, like manufacturing and energy. So how do you envisage that? Yeah.
Thank you, Vandhana.
Yeah.
Thanks for the introduction.
Thanks.
A good question as well. I think the question that we ask about sustainability nowadays,
Yes.
Everybody is for it. Nobody is against it.
Of course.
But
Yeah.
then everybody has the grand intentions for sustainability.
Yes.
But the need of the hour is not the grand intentions.
Yeah.
It's small actions. And many such small actions. So let's talk a little bit about it. Yeah. Before I go on to answer your question, I want to talk about a little bit about Schneider Electric.
Yeah, of course.
I've joined Schneider Electric recently, last 5 months, and prior to that, I was with Philips. Most of my career, my last 25 years. So looking at Schneider, I think Schneider is one of the companies that I believe walks the talk. And if you look at it, if you look at Times magazine now, in collaboration with Statista, they've named Schneider Electric as the most sustainable company in the world for 2024 as well. So I think something that I'm proud of. And also we are influencing major global events like the 2024 Olympics and Paralympics. The sustainability projects we've been involved in as well. So one more thing to quantify the kind of actions that have taken place. Since 2018, we have been able to convert, basically avoid and save carbon emissions to the order of 600 million metric tons of CO2.
Wow.
So those are testimonies. That's just one KPI that we measure, but that is a testimony to what the company does, what it believes in, and its unwavering commitment to sustainability. So answering your question, I think it's a mindset that has to change. A lot of talk has happened for last decade or so, but then it's time for action. So that's the need of the hour. I would recommend that we start with a goal setting, a clear identification of metrics. What metrics does is basically it translates the invisible into visible. And then once it's visible, you can start to act on it. So if you mentioned about the goals that we had, in 2030, we want to be net zero ready for our operations.
Yeah.
And 2050, we want to be net zero throughout our value chain. And when you talk about that, these targets are also made in alignment with the science-based targets, which is a corporate standard for net zero. So it's important to have targets that are quantifiable and backed by science that we can follow up and chase up. The next point that I want to talk about is also to help companies to go into investing on infrastructure. Basically, what we want to do, we want to be able to measure data, collect data, process data, and do analytics at scale. For this, we need to be able to put in sensors, edge controls and the whole cloud computing infrastructure in place. I think that's the need of the hour. Automation also definitely helps. Automation definitely helps in efficiency improvement and autonomous correction of their inefficiencies. Right? Predictive maintenance is another topic which is very dear to us as well. Because let's take an example of say a coffee factory. Let's take the example of one of our clients called Nestle. They make Nescafe. They make this soluble coffee. And we have a factory they have a factory in Mexico. And if you look at it, they produce millions of coffee jars. They work 365 days in a year. And if there's a disruption, it's going to cost around 50K plus USDs per day. And that disruption is, they had one, and then you know what it can cost. So we are in a situation now, thanks to the systems we have put in place, that we can predict when the system will fail, when an asset will go down, and do predictive maintenance. That is one thing. But the other thing is also true, where the maintenance cycles can also be preempted by saying a certain heavy capex equipment in a manufacturing line or in the energy sector, we can go on to advise that this equipment could last for another year or two. And then you don't, change it. So I think it's both ways. Predictive maintenance definitely can help. Partnership is another thing. Partnership, especially with technical solution providers, the research institutes, the universities, and also with peers. Because it is important, these kind of innovations can happen fast and at a lower cost, and that doesn't happen in silo. And there again, I take the example of Schneider in really pushing their partners and the suppliers also to endorse the commitment that we have. So that's one of the things. So coming back to partnerships and ecosystems, I also want to talk about governments being able to grant tax credits and subsidies and so on. I think it's already in place, but a lot more can happen to allow green projects to take shape, as in incentivizing them to do that. And last but not the least, people, with all the growing technology, we need to upskill our talent and our workforce to be able to understand, comprehend, and do the right checks and balances. Because in the service industry, although all these advanced analytics come, in the end, we have a person who kind of validates it to make sure that it's the right solution. So I don't know if I answered your question.
No, of course. I mean, across various dimensions as well. So many things have to be taken into consideration. It's just not technology. It's just not the person who is doing it, but so many amalgamation of so many things as well, coming together. Yeah, absolutely. So, what ways can innovation, how can that help in, when you're innovating in a smarter product, a greener product, how can that contribute to achieve your, net zero targets? And also, what kind of innovations in various technologies are you seeing right now, over the past so many years, and also going into the future? What exciting technologies are being present right now?
Good question, because products are becoming smarter.
Yes.
They are much more energy efficient. If you look at machinery, appliances, take lighting for example, LED lighting, it's far more efficient. The products are becoming efficient. Sustainability materials are becoming more sustainable. With that, we bring in circularity. We are able to replace, recycle, and even we have many companies that have take back programs. So we contribute to the environment in that way. I think there's a lot that's happening from that perspective. Just to answer a few points.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because, there's so many things again, the systems are becoming very smart. And not just that, I mean, across the value chain, we've also seen, so many things getting smarter. So now, you touched upon sensors initially in the first answer. So how does smart sensing and, controls, etc., how does that help in, visualizing and sort of managing the overall energy consumption, especially in the on a real-time basis? And then, how do we also integrate these systems and these technologies into our existing infrastructure? Because, creating a new one is easy, but how do you retrofit into the existing one? So,
So that's a good point. Like we all understand IoT.
Yes.
It's about sensing, collecting data, and sending it for computation. Computation can happen locally, on premise, at the edge, or in the cloud.
Yeah.
So it's as simple as that. So we are, because of sensing ability, we are able to do real-time monitoring and correction, adjusting inefficiencies. So we are able to do that. But also for legacy systems that we talked about, we also have solutions that retrofit. You can go in and add sensors to the existing equipment, add your gateways, which can transmit data through the new technologies that we have in connectivity, working with telcos, that we can provide to the backend. The backend, you can do the scaling, the AI that you want to put in, the analytics that you want to bring about. So I think we have all those systems. We can put it new, but for retrofit also through APIs, we can allow integration with existing management systems which are pre-existing. So we can go into an existing building or a factory or an electrical distribution system, add sensors to it without disturbing the way it's set up, and adding edge devices like gateways, panel servers, and then we can connect through APIs to the existing management systems to get the same output that we want, also with the new system. So technology per se exists. The mindset has to change. So that's the point I want to drive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the technology exists, but do I have the will to include that and then make it more smarter, make it more connected, make it better, and save energy at the same time? That definitely, that really drives home the point. Yeah. Now, you've talked about predictive maintenance also, but using AI, how predictive AI optimization, how can that enhance the overall efficiency in your energy systems and across your homes, or whether it is an industry or a plant, a manufacturing plant, or data centers everywhere? So, and and what are some of the challenges also that you might face while taking this forward? Yeah.
Good question. With AI, we are able to forecast. We are able to forecast demand. We are able to forecast production capabilities. We are able to forecast price variations. So that gives us the ability to plan better, to anticipate better. And also with the pricing variations, dynamic pricing, we are able to know when it's best to purchase, and also to prevent loading on the grid.
Yes.
Right. Typically, I also from a lighting industry in my previous job, and we used to have that the grid comes on and all the light points are turned on. There's a surge.
Yeah.
That happens
at one point.
But how can we level the the usage as well, the max capacity? So I think that is quite possible with what we can do now. The other point that I wanted to talk about in terms of AI, AI gives us the predictive. I talked about the predictive maintenance analytics, that we are able to advise when is the right time, advise on the usage. This is all the invisible part that we talk about. Most often we are not even aware. And now you start making a monetize, the capability of being able to save, your cost, running the cost down. That is one of the points. You talked about challenges. When I talk about challenges, what kind of challenges can exist with the AI and the adoption?
Yes.
Is more local, I would say. If you talk about local regulations, data privacy, accuracy of the data, the training models, I think those points are common and known. Those affect also. We need to tune our models to learn and to adapt to climate conditions, which vary from different parts of the globe, and also how the usage patterns. I think that learning is important. That's not common. We need to cater to those specific regions. So there's no one size fit all. So there has to be a learning that has to be adapted. So I think I wouldn't say that's a challenge. That's more of an opportunity. That systems still have to evolve.
No, fairly. I mean, I completely agree. Really, really great points. You've talked about the usage across various industries, but for organizations to really walk the talk, now, how can they adopt, these strategies, and what strategies should they adopt so that, they can ensure that they are reaching those targets, they are reaching those sustainability targets, and that is moving ahead. Yeah. And it again, using the IoT and using IoT and intelligent systems, and how how can they become more resilient in the future? So yeah.
Resilience is a very good topic, especially after what we have seen in the world in the last few years. We have to be prepared. I totally agree. So diversification is the key for even energy. So we have to look to alternate renewable sources of energy. We have to make our systems, our manufacturing lines modular and scalable, such that we are able to tune to different sources of energy coming in, and also supply chain moving away from single sourcing. And those kind of actions could definitely help. Having our own the system that we build, modular, scalable, that will also help. The global collaboration, having teams, multiple sites, different time zones, also helps. We have had good examples where when we are affected at one site, the business can continue, we could continue operating in other parts. Above all, I think it's all about making a holistic sustainability plan, not alone, but with your in a ecosystem, with your suppliers, with your stakeholders, even your customers and regulatory authorities, that you make a practical plan, factoring into account both disruptions that is anticipated, but also opportunities that arise. So also continuously monitoring that plan and tweaking it. It is not a hard and fast target, but as long as we have momentum, we start moving, start walking the talk. I think that is when we start to see benefits, and that also reinforces confidence to do more.
Got it. No, absolutely. I mean, once we made a plan, I think that's at least you've solidified those actions that you want to take, and keeping it agile. That's definitely very, very important. Yes. I mean, very, very practical advice. Thank you, Joseph. Very, very enlightening session. Really great insights as well. So thank you so much for this session.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot. Yes.